Morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I'll be giving a brief statement, and then we'll take some questions. Chief Theetge herself will not be answering questions or making any statements at this time. Yesterday was the 35th anniversary of Teresa Theetge's joining the Cincinnati Police Department. She has compiled in those 3.5 decades a literally spotless record of service and dedication to the people of this city. It was disappointing and indeed heartbreaking to learn that the city had placed this tireless public servant on leave from her position on the 35th anniversary of the first day she put on the badge and uniform. On that day, 35 years ago, she swore to dedicate herself to protect and serve the people of Cincinnati. She considered this a sacred oath, one from which she has never wavered. As many of you know, Chief Theetge comes from a family with a long line of service in law enforcement. She and her many relatives who have worn the badge of the CPD, a couple of whom are standing behind me with her now, have 290 years of combined service to law enforcement in this city, almost 3 centuries of service. Late yesterday, Terry learned that she was being placed on leave from her position. There is no justification for this action. Chief Theetge has done nothing to deserve being removed from her position. In fact, the city does not even claim to have cause for removing her from her job. The city has not identified a single action that Chief Theetge took or did not take that it claims to be ground for her removal. Chief Theetge stands before you today accused of no wrongdoing and having done nothing to deserve this action. The unfortunate conclusion we have to reach from these facts is that she is being used as a political scapegoat and a political pawn. Terry deserves better than this. Cincinnati deserves better than this. There is no one better qualified or better equipped than Teresa Theetge to confront crime in the city of Cincinnati right now. Her experience, her talent, ability, and expertise are needed now more than ever. The loss of her leadership at this critical time is a blow to this city. It has made us less safe, not more safe. If any proof of that is needed, we need look no further than the statements made by the mayor himself over the course of Terry's entire tenure as chief, in which he quite rightly praised her again and again for her dedication, commitment, effectiveness, and innovation. Late last week, Chief Theetge was asked to resign from her position as the chief of police. She was given no reason for that request. She did not initiate discussions about her resignation, and she had no desire to resign. She has no desire to resign. She has no intention of resigning. To the citizens of Cincinnati who are concerned about crime in their city, I say this: you have no more committed law enforcement officer than Teresa Theetge. You have no more qualified law enforcement officer than Teresa Theetge. You have no more effective law enforcement officer than Teresa Theetge. The chief's sincere hope is that the city will rethink this hasty and unlawful decision and reinstate her to her position promptly. The best thing the city can do to address crime right now is to let Terry get back to work. I'll now take a few questions.
Does the chief feel blindsided by this?
Yes.
So let's be clear. You're not negotiating an exit for her. You're negotiating to get her back.
That's correct. We would like Terry to get back to work. The city initiated and tried to initiate discussions about an exit.
What was the conversation that brought her back from Denver last week during that conference? What was she told?
What was she told about? She was just told to come back, and she complied.
When they asked her to resign, then what did they say? What were the words
I can't get into that. I'm sorry.
So they've now said that they're going to launch an investigation. Talk to me about that investigation. What's it for? How long do they anticipate it's going to take? Who is conducting that investigation?
Your guess is as good as mine. This is a situation where a sentence has already been passed on Terry, and now the city is looking to see if they can find a crime that she committed.
Why would Terry want to go back to a place where she was summarily dismissed?
Because, as I said, she is a dedicated public servant. This is in her blood. It's in her DNA. She wants nothing more than to be a servant and to lead the law enforcement division of the city of Cincinnati.
The city is at a crossroads right now when it comes to crime. Why now for the city leaders to do this, considering this just happened 2 days after another shooting at Fountain Square? How would they think this is the best decision to make the city safer?
I can't speak for the city, but as I said in my statement, I believe the only conclusion that can be drawn is that they're looking for a scalp. They're looking for a scapegoat. They're looking to, instead of, it's like, don't just stand there, do something. The problem is they're not doing what would be effective. They're not doing what would actually improve the situation.
Even the downtown area has, let's face it, the crime has increased in the central business district. The central business district is the heart of Cincinnati. Who else would you go to make things better unless you fire the coach?
I think the answer to that is that you let the coach do her job. And I think
She's been here for how many years?
she's been in her current position approximately 3 years as permanent chief.
Isn't 3 years long enough to continue a positive trajectory?
The chief was hamstrung by the politicians.
And what does that mean? What are the specifics of that? What have they told you? What have the politicians or the city manager told the chief to not do that she could do in terms of crime fighting?
I'm not at liberty to disclose those right now, but all I can tell you is that the chief had several proposals and several ideas to improve the situation that were vetoed.
Can you at least say one of those ideas in 40,000-foot view?
I can give you, one of them has to do with the fact that repeat offenders were being released with little or no bond by the judges of the county.
And Chief Theetge wanted that changed, obviously.
Chief Theetge asked the mayor to engage with the county judges about that
And he
issue.
refused to.
That's right.
Are you able to talk at all, or should I say, have your office talked at all to the officers on the street still? What's the feeling in the room within the Cincinnati Police Department after this?
Chief Theetge has been enormously touched and gratified by the overwhelming wave of support that she's receiving from the rank and file.
So
And some
let's
of
talk
those-
about the city manager. This is her directive. But is that directive really coming from the mayor?
I believe it was.
Not the city manager?
I can't speak for the city. My take on it is that this came from the mayor.
How long is her leave?
We don't know.
What is your intention moving forward if they do in fact fire her from her position? What do you guys foresee that how will you react?
I don't like to deal in hypotheticals, but what I can tell you is that if they actually removed Terry from her position, I believe that would be a violation of her constitutional rights.
Is there an NDA requested during any negotiations by the city?
No.
So was the chief just taking direct orders from both the mayor and the city manager instead of doing what she thought would be best to fight crime?
I think that that's a fair characterization.
So the chief would not sign off on charges in July brawl. Captain Henney did do that. He signed off on his charges. Do you believe that any of this stems from her not wanting to be party to that?
I don't know.
So has the chief mentioned anything to you about Henny's leadership, about the fact that Henny has gone from captain directly to acting chief? What kind of confidence does the chief have in this interim chief?
The only thing I can say is that the chief does not believe that The chief does not believe that there is anyone who has the experience, ability, and expertise that she has to lead this department right now.
To that point, when I spoke with Dan Hills, who was FOP president when Chief Theetge was named to the position, he said, I may have been critical during her time here, but I have her back right now. It's going to be almost impossible to find somebody who would want to fill her shoes if it means having to sit and work with Iris Rowley. He said Iris Rowley has been a challenge for the past few years. Has that played a role here? Has that been challenging? And do you agree with what Hill said?
Sorry, I can't comment on that.
What does her contract say about severance? We've asked for the contract, it hasn't been released by the city.
The contract doesn't speak to severance.
You mentioned her time, just the extensive years of service, her family's years in service, and this has been her life. How's the chief doing personally that you can tell in your conversations with her?
I think it would be fair to say that the chief is devastated by this. This came at exactly the worst time. And she has gotten a lot of support from her family and from her friends and from the rank and file. That has helped, but it has been a devastating few days for Chief Theetge.
Why do you say it's been at the worst time?
As I mentioned, it came on the 35th anniversary of her first putting on the badge and uniform.
Hey, Steve, for the benefit of the cameras on the right, could the chief step forward some so they can get
Sure.
You continuously call her a political scapegoat here. If we weren't a few weeks out from an election, do you think that she would still be acting chief right now?
Ask you for my opinion? Yeah, I think she probably would.
Should the city change its mind? And that's your big goal here, right? Is to get the chief back being chief and back on the streets. What would that working relationship look like with the city? I mean, things have been broken here. There's tension. What would that look like?
On the part of I can only speak for what the chief would do, and that is the chief would behave professionally and would just go about doing her job. I don't know that the city would do the same. I would hope so.
Are you still talking to the city, or are you filing anything? What's the next step?
We're considering all options right now.
Is her employment status at will? Could they dismiss her without any reason? Does the contract say she has to have a hearing and all of that?
Her employment is governed by the city charter, and after 6 months of employment, she can only be removed for cause. So she is not an at-will employee at this point. That's one of the key results of the litigation that we're handling for Chief Mike Washington, the former fire chief, and the courts have established that the chief is not an at-will employee and can only be terminated if there's cause.
What are the patterns or parallels you see between this case and the one you just mentioned, who you're representing, Michael Washington?
There are a lot of patterns. There are a lot of common denominators. In both instances, you had people with more than 30 years of experience who had devoted their lives to their respective departments and who had worked their way up through the ranks to reach the position of chief. Both of them were very well-deserved of the position that they held, and both were discharged without cause. So there, I see lots of parallels actually in the two instances.
Are you able to identify the gentleman behind you as well?
Yeah,
Just let us know who represents.
so if I could ask them to
Terry's brother
introduce me.
Rick?
I'm a husband, Bob.
I'm her brother Russ.
Would Rick or Russ be willing to speak on their sister's behalf?
Not today.
You mentioned if the chief goes back that she would be willing to work with the city. Would she do things differently? You said that she was taking basically commands from city officials. Would she do things that she thought were more appropriate at the helm of the CPD than what they thought?
When she comes back, if she comes back and when she comes back, she would ask to be given the appropriate authority with regard to resources and operations as chief. She has to follow the chain of command. but she would hope that she would be allowed to do her job without any fetters or interference.
Would she consider a lesser position in going back? Because then they would avoid a lawsuit per se.
No, she would not consider a lesser position.
When you talk about that collaboration again, what did that look like? Did they tell her that if she did not follow their command or what they were directing, that there would be repercussions, or how did that relationship work?
I can't speak to those details, I'm sorry.
You said she was blindsided by this, but could she start to see the writing on the wall, considering what you're deeming this as a political situation? We're 2 weeks from an election, and that the mounting pressure of what was happening. Could she envision it, even though she wasn't blindsided?
I'll put it this way. She was concerned that the city might try to do something like this. She was concerned that they might see her as somebody that they could sacrifice for political purposes, but she didn't expect that it was going to happen.
What do you think was the pivotal, the turning point that, because the mayor a few weeks ago said he had complete confidence in the chief. Where did it start to sour? What was the watershed moment?
I don't know. It may have been the shooting on Fountain Square, but I can't speak to that.
Are you able to talk about all the things she tried to do to curb the violence over the summer, whether it was her going to actually Cincinnati Public School District to talk to parents and talk to the schools about that, doing more patrols downtown, calling out the judges on the revolving door of injustice and different things that she is trying to do over the summer to try to curb this violence, like you said, that she tried to do but just couldn't, had her hands tied?
I think you've summed it up very well. I don't have anything to add.
Was there any anger on the city's part? I heard that some of the people in the community were not happy that she didn't attend that meeting the night, I forget what date that was, but her not being at a community meeting. Did it have something to do with it?
I don't think so.
Do you have papers drawn up already for a lawsuit? Are you ready to go? And when do you anticipate needing to do that? Will you wait until the end of the investigation, until she is dismissed, obviously?
I can't tell you right now what we're going to do next. I can say we're looking at all options.
So what is the status right now? Right now, they say there's an investigation that is going to begin. Is it underway? We kind of asked you this a little bit before, but what's the timeline for that? So what's the timeline for you?
Well, you'll have to ask the city what the timeline for the supposed investigation is. I'm sure they will. I'm sorry to say, I'm afraid that they're going to work very hard to see if they can't dig up some dirt on this person that they've just removed from office without cause. But, so I can't speak to the city's timeline. I have no idea what their intentions are. I have no idea who is going to investigate. Chief Theetge has not been told anything about this supposed investigation. So we can only control our side of it. And right, as I say, we're looking at all options.
Stephen, can you go over what happened yesterday? I mean, was the chief handed a box and she had to go in and clear her desk? Did she walk out the door alone? Can you describe that scene, as it were? And then, what is the chief doing now? Other than standing right behind you.
She's standing right here, yeah. Right now, she's simply on leave and still absorbing what has happened in the last 24 hours. When she was advised late yesterday afternoon that she was being placed on leave, she packed up some personal items and left City Hall.
Was she escorted to the door?
She was not escorted.
Who delivered that news to the chief, that she was on leave?
I delivered that news to her after hearing it from the
Who
city.
called you then?
My conversations have been with Will Hicks of the city's law department.
And has there been any financial offer from the city to conclude this, I guess?
I'm not going to get into those negotiations.
Earlier this year, there was a federal discrimination lawsuit filed against CPD, basically saying that Chief Theetge and the department favors women of color and women in general. Do you think, or have you been told that this has anything to do with this leave of absence?
I don't think that's related. I don't. One more question.
And will obviously ask the city their reaction to today's press conference, but based on everything that you've said and how you say the city has been treating the chief, how do you think they're going to respond to you speaking to us today?
I suspect they'll say they have no comment, but because they typically don't comment on potential pending litigation. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it very much.